Well, howdy, kids. One of my viewers, I don't remember who you are, so hopefully you remember who you are, but they asked me to do a video on the ancestors. And I can't believe I haven't done that before. I'm sure I've touched on the subject here and there, but not just one on the ancestors. It's September now as I'm making this video. So as you probably know, if you know how to read a calendar, October's right around the corner, the traditional time to honor the ancestors. This seems to be worldwide. It seems that cultures all over the planet have chosen October and November, fix my hat here, as the time to remember the dead. Interesting thing because a lot of these cultures engaged in this practice before these cultures interacted with each other. Uh, how the hell does that happen? How do people come up with the same ideas all over the world? Maybe it's an observation of nature, the movements of the sun. Who knows how they come up with these ideas? Camera a little bit. There we go. So, October 31st, as you may already know, typically called Samhain in the witchcraft communities. And for those of you that don't know, that's an Irish word. It looks like Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain. Um, the October 31st, of course, you might imagine um, uh, the tween times. I should mention the tween times. See, in the old pagan calendar, it wasn't so much the date of the holiday, but the point that the holiday was between times. So October 31st is November's Eve. It's the between time of October and November. It's the tween time of the systems. Or the seasons. Um, it's the time of the dark months. So another tween time you might imagine would be midnight, the witching hour. That's the time tween days. So that's a sacred time. So it's no wonder that midnight on October 31st is seen as such an important time, especially for witches and witchery. The idea being that comes from the Irish, and we'll see similar ideas all over the world, but we're going to go back to the Irish. Um, the idea is that on October 31st, Halloween, Samhain, whatever you want to call it, uh, it's believed that the veils between the world of the living and the world of the dead are the thinnest. So thin, in fact, that the dead can pass through them rather easily and visit the land of the living. In Irish culture, hospitality is extremely important. The idea for the Irish was that on that night the ancestors came through the veil to visit their kin. And they expected certain things. They expected some food, they expected some drink, they expected some acknowledgement. Um, if they didn't get that on that night, they got kind of touchy. They got kind of angry about it. But since they're your relatives, they're not going to, hurt you. But they are ghosts, so they can mess with you. It's my belief that this is probably the origin of trick or treat. And it's boiled down over the centuries to where our children are playing the part of the ancestors. They're dressing up as goblins and ghouls and going to houses and banging on the door and expecting treats. And some kids, I tested my daughter on this, some kids remember the old ways. That if you did not receive the treat, and the people's porch light was on, and they had a jack-o'-lantern outside, and they didn't leave a bowl of treats on the steps, so some kids remembered that the tradition was you were supposed to egg their house. Toilet paper their house, put a burning bag of dog shit on their porch, this kind of thing. That would be the trick in lack of the treat. They didn't get the treat, so they do the trick. This is what the ancestors in Ireland were believed to have done. They would mess with you. They would, I don't know, hide your chariot keys, curdle the milk, let the cow out of the barn. I don't know. They would fuck with you in medieval ways. So they expected a certain amount of honor. Now, all over the world, no matter where you go, no matter what cult you go to, the dead ancestors want two things. Alcohol and tobacco. Doesn't matter where you go, even down to Native Americans, alcohol and tobacco seem to be sacred things for dead people. They wanted in the afterlife. Now, if you have an ancestor that was clean and sober, maybe you want to skip what I just said. maybe you personalize it. If you know something about your ancestors, you can personalize it. But typically, what's done, an altar for the dead. Pictures of your departed ancestors, objects they had, maybe jewelry they had, things sacred to them, a little offering plate put out, alcohol, tobacco, food, sweets, chocolate. Everybody likes chocolate. Even the dead like chocolate, apparently. Um, and something comes straight from the Irish that we see duplicated in other cultures, something called the Dumb Supper. Dumb supper is a plate of food set out for the ancestors, typically a place at the family table, one plate of food for the ancestors. It's very economical because apparently all of the ancestors can eat off of one plate. So you put out one plate just for all the ancestors, and they're cool with that. Some people are going to leave it outdoors, let the animals carry the things to the ancestors, but then the ancestors are going to, or the animals are going to drink the alcohol too. So I don't know about that. But leaving offerings. In some cultures, you wouldn't leave them. You would blow the smoke, spray, spray the alcohol on an object associated with your ancestors. In some of the ATRs, especially you'll see in Santeria, they have a really simplified one. It's called a boveda. And a boveda only requires several glasses of water. I've seen 7 as the number, and I've seen 9 as the number. Those seem to be the two main numbers that I see. No justifications of who's right, who's wrong. I don't know, but typically roundish, like wine glasses, seem to be traditional from what I've seen. Set in kind of a bow formation with one in the middle, and often the ones I've seen, big ones in the middle. And that can be a table with a white tablecloth and 7 to 9 glasses of water. You change those glasses of water every day. In that system, you can see the spiritual activity by the bubbles in the water. If you look at the glass, there's certain times there's just all the glasses have little bubbles in them, and that's a time of heightened spiritual activity. You can see it, physically see it, and you know what's going on. And that might be a time to, I don't know, offer your ancestors some smoke, some alcohol, some incense, candle. I've seen bovedas mixed with the other idea of the ancestor altar, with pictures of the dead, things associated with the dead, offerings left for the dead. But I've seen bovedas that are just the series of glasses of water. And that's used for the ancestors, but also for spirits. It's believed that the water attracts spirits, and then that's the place that you communicate with the spirits. That's the place you talk to the dead. So, in this day and age, you can go on Ancestry.com. I have a relative of mine that has certain really good technical skills, and he really searched my family tree, both sides of the family tree, and I have all kinds of pictures of ancestors now off Ancestry.com. I've got pictures of their tombstones, locations of their tombstones. So this Samhain, my altar for the dead is just like off the hook. And you can get DNA tests, find out your lineage, that kind of thing, and then some people just don't know, and like me, allegedly, part of my family's Italian, and the Italians, they lose a lot of their culture when they come over here to the States because they lost their name. Typically, at Ellis Island, they'd be given a new name, losing all connection to the old name, making it impossible to track your ancestors. So, in those cases, some people just kind of set up a thing for their ancestors and acknowledge to their ancestors, like, I don't know you. I don't know who you are. Ancestors known and unknown. Kind of like when we do like enemy work for enemies known and unknown. We do a thing for ancestors known and unknown. And that can work too. So now those are the typical things, and what I just said is not hard to find, and you're going to find many people are going to say the same thing, and so you know, Uncle Birch ain't going to stop there. I'm not just going to tell you what everybody's going to tell you. I'm going to fuck up everything I just told you, actually, because recent scientific advances have proven what a lot of our ancestors in indigenous and pagan cultures worldwide have always said. There's a thing called ancestral memory. It's in us. It's in our DNA. It's part of us. Our cells, our very cells, carry memories. The atoms that make up our body carry memories. And the atoms that make up our body have been many things. They have been planets, stars. You've heard that we're made of stardust, right? The ancients used to say something like that too. Though we are children of the earth, our race is of the stars. Some people think that maybe that means that we were aliens. I don't know. Some people believe that that means that witches were a separate species put here by aliens again. I don't know. But then maybe it's actual star stuff and drifted down to the planet, evolved into what we are now, and those cells in our body contain those memories of everything that has ever been. This could throw in some monkey wrenches into the ideas of reincarnation as well. We could be experiencing cell memory of other things that those cells have been on this planet or on other planets. But that's just one thing. So the ancestors always talked about that ancestral memory, and in just recent years, science has made leaps and bounds with that one. And I've seen several studies. And if you know of a study that disagrees with what I'm going to say, I'm open to it. But the study I read was about ants. They studied ants and they found a genetic memory in the ants, in their very DNA. Memories encoded into their DNA. And they weren't just memories from their genetic ancestors. They were the memories of the entire species of ants. So, in other words, red ants didn't just have red ant memories. Black ants didn't just have black ant memories. Army ants didn't just have army ant memories. Ants had the memories of all ants. The entire species of ants hard-coded in their DNA. This is going to fuck up a lot of things because I don't know if anybody really hit on what I hit when I first heard about it. I said, whoa, wait a minute. This is really going to fuck up racism, sexism, isms. This is going to fuck up the isms because what science has found is that so if it happened for the ants, as above, so below. This is another version of as above, so below. We would be the above because ants are shorter than us typically. This would mean that you, me, all of us, contain the genetic memory of our entire species, regardless of geographical location, regardless of race, culture, creed, sex, any of it. We hold the memories of all humankind. And then whatever kind we were before we were human. Wrap your fucking head around that one. So, where most people would say when assembling an ancestor altar, you learn a lot about your culture, learn a lot about where your people came from, do things, if you're going to have like Scottish ancestors, maybe you put a plaid altar cloth on there, the Scottish kind of plaid that a kilt would be made out of, that kind of thing. Normally people are going to say that. You've got Italian ancestors, do some Italian things. Or like, so if we're working with, we're working with African religions, several that went to Cuba, like Apollo, Santeria. Santeria would be another, the Cubanized version of what left to Africa a lot of times. That's all very debatable, but uh, those ancestors are seen to like want rum because that's so important in Cuba. The Irish are going to want Irish whiskey. In hoodoo, we're dealing with ancestors and with whiskey, and we're feeding objects with whiskey because those are the alcohols from that culture. So it's believed that they're going to like what came from that culture. But now with the DNA memory, who the fuck knows? This ruins everything we thought we were. All the worst things that make up our species as humans, ruined by the discovery, the proving of ancestral memory. And let me see, I had something I had saved here. I get my damn phone to open up here. I looked a little bit up on Wikipedia, and I looked up genetic memory. Again, my phone's just totally fucking with me. Let's see. Genetic memory is in biology, a memory present in a state of biological systems depends on its history in addition to present conditions. Its memory is recorded in the genetic material and stably inherited through cell division, mitosis, or meiosis. It is genetic memory. Then there's somatic memory. Somatic memory is limited to the organism and not passed on to subsequent generations. However, its mechanism may evolve mitotically stable genetic memory. The term applies to cellular memory in animals, memory, plants, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is the one I was actually looking for. Cellular memory. All cells in the multicellular organisms are derived from pluripotent zygotes and contain the same genetic material, with a few exceptions. However, they are capable of recording a history of their development within the organism, leading to specialized functions and limitations. Cells often employ epigenetic processes that affect the DNA protein interactions to record this cellular memory in the form of mitotically stable changes in the genetic material without change in the DNA sequence itself. Hopefully that meant something to you, but it meant something to me when I read it. So this really changes things, and so if you really want to do an ancestor altar after what I just said to you, you're going to need more room. you're going to need levels. One of those like this. You're going to need an altar with levels. There's a level on the top too that you can't even see, just to keep up with your ancestors. You're gonna need something for the Asians, for the Africans, for the Northern Europeans, on and on, all the races, all the creeds. You need something for women, something for men, something for gays, something for straights. All this encoded in our genetic memory, screwing up everything that we thought we were and fucking up a lot of the things on our planet. And I think, as I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking right away how that fucks up racism. And we all know, and most of us know that ever studying any science, we really all came from Africa. The first trace of the human species can be found in Africa. And they traveled all around the world and became different. Maybe different levels of sunlight made their skin different. That's a theory I've heard. But and people change and evolve. Matter of fact, the legend has it that the indigenous Irish people, the Tuatha Dé Danann, were such a dark skin they were almost considered like navy blue. There was like blacker than black. Blacker than any black we've ever seen on this planet. Blacker than any black in Africa. The indigenous Irish were black. And somehow they're the whitest motherfuckers in the world now over evolution, devolution, interaction with other cultures. Ireland was, probably the most invaded piece of land in the old world. So I don't even know where I'm going with that anymore. So that's my lesson to you to screw it all up. You're gonna have to appeal to all your ancestors, and this This might help some people because some people, some witches, some pagans, they may lean to the Celtic but not be Irish. Well, now you're Irish. Some may lean to the African, but they're not African. Well, now you're African. Uh, Cultural appropriation gets really fucked up with this idea too. Like I said, all of the worst things about human beings, even the variations and the arguments between religions, all of those ideas were born into our DNA, and they originally stem from the same ideas. They somehow become different religions over time, but the origin of those ideas is something encoded into the DNA of our entire species and comes from one singular source, and then just varies with who's telling the story. So, there, I guess it's probably long enough. I could just ramble on forever, as you know, and y'all seem to like that anyways, but at some point I've got to press stop. 'Cause I don't know if a couple listeners have mentioned that they hear my the fan on my computer struggling. It is. I barely got it to reboot. Operating system not found. Blue screen of death. I still know some tricks. I was able to get it up and running, but I don't. I'm gonna have to look for a new computer really soon. So you feel free to send me donations towards a new computer. But one more thing that I wanted to say. Um, there's a good friend of mine, Frater X, the Mystery Channel. A lot of you know him. I know I've gotten a lot of listeners or a lot of viewers from him. Hopefully, he's gotten some viewers from me. Although he's got plenty of viewers, he's doing fine. But I gave him a discount code to use on his channel. People watch the video, they get the discount code. They get, I think, it's 13% off from my web store. And then it occurred to me, he's like, well, goddamn, you've never done that on your own channel, dude. So yeah, I should do that on my channel, right? I'm offering a discount to some other dude's viewers on some other channel, and I haven't offered a discount to you guys. Well, here you go. It'll have to be after this video uploads. I have to go set it up. But those of you, if you need stuff, you need some things for your witchery, I have this little shop. It's called thesacredgrovestore.com. Now, if you go to thesacredgrovestore.com after watching this video, enter the secret code that is the name of my channel, FreakPhil1309, FREAKPHIL, and the number's 1309. If you didn't hear that, look over there. It's right down in the corner right over there, right under my video. That's the secret code. That'll get you 13% off. There's some little code prompt, discount prompt on the webpage. I don't know where, when you're making an order. So you enter that code. I'm going to give you 13% off. Anything you need, you can use it as many times as you want. It's going to be one of those discount codes that's not going to expire, because my videos stay up there forever, and I'm sure I'll have the web store forever. The web address might change at some point, but wherever my website is, you get the 13% discount because I love you. All of you, except for you, that one right there. Everybody else, love you, love you, love you. Even the person that comes on my channel to give me a thumbs down. If you ever scroll through my videos, there's one person that went through every one of my videos to give me a thumbs down. I'll have like one dislike all the way down. And I had a friend do some looking, and I found out, yeah, it's one person. This one person that trolled all of my videos to give me a dislike. But they had to give me a click to do it. I got a hit on every one of those videos because of your dumbass going there to give me a dislike. So thanks for the hit. Merry meet, merry part, merry meet again, y'all.